Now I'd like to send it over to our executive producer, Adam Wirt. Adam, I understand we have a question.
Good morning, Gary. Thanks. Yeah, we have a question from David in Sandy Springs. He sent this in via Facebook. He says, Gary, I have a few questions about a car wreck I was in last month. I was stopped behind another car on I-285 because the traffic in front of me was at a stop. All of a sudden, I could hear brakes squealing behind my car as a semi-truck crashed into my car.
Wow.
The accident pushed me into the car in front of me and caused my airbag to deploy. My nose began to bleed because the airbag hit me really hard in the face. I was taken by ambulance to the hospital. I'm still being treated for my injuries, but I'm really starting to get concerned as I continue to have severe headaches, dizziness, and I'm unable to see very well. Gary, do I need a lawyer to help with my case? That's from David, again, in Sandy Springs.
Hey, David, thank you for your question. Adam, thanks for your help on this, and always so thankful for the great work that Adam Wirt and Rachel Ward, our executive producer, our associate producer, as well as everybody here at the CW, all the great work they put in to this show. Now, David, anytime you're injured in an accident, I encourage you to discuss your case with a lawyer. And I also recommend in this situation that you hire a lawyer. If not us, please hire someone, but an attorney that is a specialist in personal injury claims. But let me address one of my biggest concerns with your question, David, and please understand, I am not trying to practice medicine, but the symptoms you're complaining of can come from a concussion or a traumatic brain injury, also known as a TBI. I strongly encourage you to seek further medical attention as soon as possible if you haven't already. And let me share some statistics with you about brain injuries. Approximately 15% of people with a mild TBI, traumatic brain injury, have symptoms that last 1 year or more. Fatigue, headaches, memory loss, vision problems, sleep disturbances, dizziness, loss of balance, emotional problems, depression, and seizures can occur. And David, you indicated in your question that you were having headaches, dizziness, and blurred vision, all of which are possible symptoms of a traumatic brain injury. About 1.7 million people suffer a brain injury every year. 52,000 people die, and 85,000 suffer long-term disabilities. Most concussions occur without ever losing consciousness, and many mild TBIs are not diagnosed until the person begins to have problems down the road, usually doing something that was once an easy task or in a social situation. Keep in mind, it is possible for the brain to be injured even when there is not direct trauma to the brain. In other words, you don't have to have the skull fractured or penetrated for a person to sustain a brain injury. Your brain is very soft. In a car wreck, if your brain strikes the inside of your skull, the brain can be bruised, or as doctors refer to it, it can sustain a contusion. When it is bruised, there is bleeding and there can be swelling. This swelling can cause pressure to build, compressing your brain in the confines of the skull. Now, there are some diagnostic tests that doctors may consider ordering for you. These tests are designed to do one of two things. One, it will show how the brain looks, or two, it will determine how the brain is functioning. One of the tests may be normal, but another can be abnormal. For example, a CT scan shows the structure of the brain. It does not show the functioning of the brain, though. So a normal CT scan does not necessarily mean the person did not sustain TBI. Oftentimes, a doctor will order a variety of tests to better assess the patient's injuries, such as an MRI or two other tests. One is a single photon emission computed tomography, SPECT, or two, position emission tomography scanning, or PET scan. These tests will provide the doctors with pictures of the brain. And in the picture, the darker the area of the brain, the more activity that is occurring there. If a person is having a seizure, the part of the brain that produces the seizure will be very active and may show up as a bright spot. When the person is not having a seizure, that area may look pale and less intense. Another way to determine whether or not an individual has sustained a TBI is to have an evaluation performed by a neuropsychologist. These doctors are trained to understand the effects a TBI can have on a person's behavior. Those impacts can be mild personality changes, disorientation, difficulty controlling emotions, impulsiveness, difficulty managing behavior, violence, drug and alcohol use. And what about treatment options for somebody that sustained a TBI? Well, this greatly varies depending upon the severity of the injuries. The more severe the injuries, the greater the likelihood a patient will be admitted to a hospital or rehab facility. Look, a TBI can have traumatic, profound effects on you, on your family. Do not wait to talk to a lawyer. Give us a call. We'd be happy to talk to you about your claim. 770-934-8000. We'll be back.